we really needed to discuss tonight and go over. And so honestly, I just wanted to talk about the daily to-dos. And Cassidy is a fairly new consultant, kind of, sort of. I'm going to let her share her story with you guys. And honestly, she's just had an incredible last 2 months, and just watching from the sidelines, I have been super impressed. And so I actually reached out to her, and, we were just chatting back and forth, trying to just really be accountability partners. And so that's another thing that I want to plug here. No matter where you're at in this business, if you're a brand new consultant, if you're a district manager, area manager, on your way to regional vice president, it's always great to have someone that's going to hold you accountable. And honestly, for me, it was just having someone that was just excited about Arbonne, excited about moving and shaking. So whatever that looks like, grab yourself an accountability partner. I know a lot of you guys are in our RVP in 4 to 5 months group. Use that as accountability, and grab a buddy in there and a partner just to keep you excited and on fire. And so I, really last minute, reached out to Cassidy and was like, hey, I'm going to be talking about daily to-dos tonight. You want to hop on and share your story? And she was really quick to be like, yeah, sure. So I'm just kind of going to use this time as a question and answer. But then I'm also going to go over just some announcements at the end. So if you have to hop off for whatever reason, make sure that you catch the recording, because there's going to be some dates and things like that that are coming down the pipeline that you're not going to want to miss. But without further ado, you guys, I'm going to pass the call over to Cassidy, and I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'm going to let her share from start to finish. And then Cassidy, I'll just kind of intervene and just ask you some questions that I know everybody is dying to hear. So guys, grab a notepad and a pen and get yourself ready to take notes, and just sit at the feet of this beautiful, amazing woman and learn all that you can from her. So Cassidy, you can take it away.
Alrighty, so I'll kind of share my story. Like Whitney had said, I jumped in in December, but really I've been kind of watching from the sidelines for probably three or so years now. So my mother-in-law, she's Beth Gagliardi. So obviously you can't really get away from Arbonne when your mother-in-law is a national vice president in Arbonne. So I started Arbonne probably 2 years ago or so. And it was back when it was there was no social media or anything. It was all parties, and that scared me so bad. I don't know why. Even this month, I'm trying to book parties, and it still scares me so bad. I have no idea why. But I stopped just because I was so scared, and really I didn't have a big why at all. I was just kind of just doing it just to do it, just because obviously I saw the lifestyle that Arbonne could offer, but I didn't have really any motivation or anything to push me to continue when the business got hard. So I totally just stopped. And then, like I said, I just watched from the sidelines for 2.5 years, and that was horrible. I tell everybody, don't do what I did. Don't quit and stop and watch people and wish that you didn't quit. And so finally I jumped in December, and my father-in-law Vince literally had to be like, okay, Cassidy, you're going to start on December 1st, right? And it was a week before. It was just right after Thanksgiving. And I was like, okay, I have 5 days before I have to start. I can do it. That's just how much anxiety that I had over Arbonne and not doing it. And so finally December 1st came, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start. And Beth had, I don't know if any of you guys were on it, or I'm pretty sure she Zoomed it, but it was like a Punta Cana, kind of thing or whatever. And I remember just looking at the numbers and being like, there is absolutely no way. And even sitting there and being like, I'm not doing this. It's December 1st, but I'm just going to tell them I'm not going to do it. But my big why is my husband and I, we have a little baby boy joining us here in April. So I needed to replace my income by the time that he's here, so I can stay at home with him, and we didn't have to take a big pay cut. We both are full-time workers, and I was on a salary and all that sort of stuff. And I already had technically kind of quit my job. I knew and told them hey, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I just did not know what we were going to do. And Arbonne was obviously sitting in my lap. And so I started in December. Beth literally had to sit next to me. I wrote out like the top 10 people to be on my dream team, and she literally had to sit next to me to message every single person because I was so scared. So if any of you are scared or super timid, just get somebody who will sit down and just do it with you and just do it. After I did like 3 or 4, I was like, okay, like that wasn't so bad. She had me start off with the people that like I knew like were going to be nice to me, like that weren't going to not respond or whatever. And like one girl ended up like joining right then and there, and it was like this like super cool God thing, and she was like, I've been thinking about it and all this stuff. So that kind of gave me like a lot of hope and like, okay, I could do this. So then yeah, I started in December, and then after that I kind of just got like like if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in. I'm not just going to like dibble dabble in this and not actually do it. And I watched Mariah and Madeline's, like, they have a video of how they went RVP really quickly and how they just started reaching out to people about the business. And I'll tell you that last time I did Arbonne, like, my main focus was trying to get 8 parties a month. And that was so hard for me, and to wrap my mind about, I have to get it. And I would always feel so defeated if I didn't have it. And now my main thing has been, I always lead with the business. Like, that is my like main thing I tell all my girls on my team to do too, is to always start with the business, because you can always kind of move backwards from there. And when you're leading with the business, it's kind of like you're like giving them something. You're not really asking them for something. I know with the detox, we know we're going to be giving them like, obviously a healthy 30 days and confidence and all that sort of stuff. But to them, in their eyes, they don't see that at the moment. And so with the business, it's nice because we have something to offer them right away. I always tell the story because it just kind of relates to it. But there's a girl on my team now who somebody reached out to her about the Arbonne detox like 3 weeks before I had asked her to do the business with me. And she had told that person no. She didn't want to do the detox. She didn't have money. Like, she gave all the excuses. And then like 2 weeks later, I reached out to her about the business, and she was like, oh yeah, super interested. And then she joined my business like literally the next day and bought the detox the next day, and then was on the detox and had 3 people under her purchase the detox. So originally, you know, when one person had just reached out to her about, you know, doing the detox, she had said no, but with the business, she was more inclined to say yes. So that's what I started doing in December. I just started reaching out to literally like anyone and everyone, and I was not afraid to offer it to people. And I would like go on their Instagram, or I'd go on their Facebook, and the way I would look at it is I would look at the reasons like why they would need it. And that would help me not be like afraid to message them. I would just like look at their Instagram and be like, okay, how would this business help them? And so, yeah, within the first month, I think in December, we finished at like maybe like 7,500 in sales, which was like literally insane for me, because my goal was just to have 10 detoxers like under personally me. That was my goal. Like, I just have to get 10. I think I ended up having like 13, and then the girls underneath me, you know, had a few and stuff. And so I was able to promote to districts in my first month. And then it was nice too. I found out that like for Punta Cana, you can double your QV that month. So that was really helpful. And then going into January, I just kept doing the same thing. And yeah, then I was able to go into area qual, and now I'm trying really hard to finish this month. So that's kind of my story, but yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions here. So guys, I hope that you all caught that, because we have some new consultants on here. So Cassidy did not just 6,000 in sales to go district in the month of December, but she did 7,500 in sales. And then her second month in the business. Cass, what did you guys do for area qual? Did you say 15?
Yeah, I think we did like 15 and like 100 or something.
Yeah. So a little over 15,000 her second month in the business. And so you guys already heard her say that she led with the detox. So now I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. So just preference, Cassidy, do you prefer reaching out on Facebook or Instagram?
It really just depends. Like for a lot of people my age, we don't really have, a lot of us aren't on Facebook or they don't have Facebook Messenger. And so for Instagram, with all the people that are like in my age or I know are active on Instagram, I'll message on Instagram. But then like I have a lot more family on Facebook and like older friends from high school, you know, kind of more past, and I'll do it on there. So really either or, wherever they actually are. But I would say the bulk of mine come from Instagram because that's where I spend most of my time.
Okay, gotcha. So actually first I'm going to ask this. So what's like a typical reach out for you? Like what do you reach out and say when, like if you see me on Instagram and you want me to join your team, what are you going to say to me?
Yeah. So I always like to just say, hey, I like to use their name and make sure you spell their name right. Cause I have made the mistake of not spelling their name right. And people, I mean, no one likes their name spelled wrong. So make sure their name's spelled right. Like I always like to do it in notes, like on my notes section first. And I'll just say like, hey, Whitney. And then I always like to say like something personal about them. So I'll say like, I love seeing your sweet photos of you and your kids on your Instagram. Like it looks like you guys have so much fun together. And then after that, I am just like honest with them. And I just say, hey, honestly, I'm just reaching out to you about my health and wellness business. And I think being honest with them is a lot easier because you're just being upfront right away. And it's not like you're trying to beat around the bush for anything. You're not trying to start a conversation with them and then weave Arbonne in. Especially with people you know. This is more for like personal people you know. And then from there, I like to like compliment them and tell them why I think they would be good at this or why they may need it. So like say for Whitney, I would say like, I know you're so positive and kind and I think you would really be great at this business. And then I always at the very end say, if I sent you a video, would you watch it? And then depending on the person will be dependent on what video I send. I personally made a video in the month of December to start sending out to people. It's like so long and I need to make a new one. But that works really well because it's really personable. And for girls who, you know, are currently in college right now or in a dorm, I'll send like Peyton's, or for someone who is a mom, like I'll send one of Whitney or I'll send one, I don't know, just of someone that I'll find. But I like to find the videos that work best, that kind of get a big response. And Peyton's usually does really well. And then my personal ones really do really well. And especially with the personal ones, like the response I get back is always like, oh, that was so sweet. Like it's like more of not just like a random person. It was like, oh, wow, thank you for being honest in the video. Like they kind of feel like I just filmed it right then and there for them. So a lot more people tend to respond to my personal video.
Awesome. And which Peyton video do you send?
It is, I can send you the link. She's like it's like a 10-minute one. I try to keep them pretty short because people are not, I would just like to put myself in their shoes. If someone was asking me to watch a video, I'm not going to want to sit and watch a 20-minute video. Right. Especially to them, they're kind of like seeing this as like, oh, I'm doing her a favor watching this video. So yeah, it's like a 10-minute one. It's just like her in her dorm. It was even before she was like an MVP. So
okay.
I'll send you that link.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so so I just want to clarify, when you first reach out, your first initial message, you're not saying anything about the income opportunity or what they could have. You're just strictly like, let me say something personal. I'm going to be honest with you. I started a health and wellness business. I think you would be amazing. If I sent you a video, would you watch it?
Yeah, and I don't even say the word Arbonne either. Because like I said, I always like to put myself in their shoes. If someone sent me a video and was saying like Arbonne, if I didn't know what that was, I would start Googling it before I even responded. I would start Googling it, and like, who knows what could be, you know, on Google about Arbonne, like, oh, is it a pyramid scheme, all this stuff. And then they already have this preconceived like thing in their head rather than a video of myself sharing about it and why I chose Arbonne. And the videos do a really good job of explaining what it is and the income you can make.
Okay. So you don't say Arbonne in the first message, but then the video you go over all
the
those
video, things. Yeah, obviously they talk about Arbonne, talk about the products,
yeah.
You know, the income you can make, and that's where people will respond afterwards with questions and stuff.
Right. And I'm saying this, you guys, because I want you to hear Cassidy is not a regional vice president and she does not drive a white Mercedes-Benz. And she sponsored 11 consultants direct to her by using a personal touch, asking if she could send them a video, and complimenting them. So, like, when we talk about verbiage and we talk about customize it to you, like, she's customizing it to her and she's customizing it to her prospect. So you don't have to have a Benz to prospect people into your business. But I just wanted to point that out because I know we have a lot of new people watching. Okay, so Cassidy, after somebody watches the video and they're like, okay, awesome, loved it, like, what's your next step from there?
So a lot of people, they'll start, like, one girl right after was like, how can I sign up? Like, she just watched the video and then was like all gung-ho and ready to go. Some people, they're going to start asking questions, all that sort of stuff. I don't answer like any questions on Instagram. I go right into a video chat. Like, even if they just ask me one, like, I'll say, hey, why don't you just go ahead, write down all your questions, and then we'll find a time to video chat within like today or tomorrow, and then I'll answer them all like personally. And so that just helps because with the going back and forth, it could take a long time for them to respond. With the video chats, like, you're going to get them, like, my consultants become consultants within like 2 days of watching the video. It's not like a big, long process. Some need to think about it and stuff, and that's totally fine. But the ones who I know can be ready, like, we're going to get on a video chat really quickly, and then we're going to sign up right afterwards.
Awesome. I love it. And I think that that's definitely something that we can implement. For those of you guys listening, I think we can start implementing that because that's not something that we do right now. We usually answer their questions in conversation, which is why I always answer a lot of screenshots, but that's an easy way that we could be like, hey, like, let's just hop on a video chat tomorrow. So Cassidy, were you doing those video chats with Beth? And I think you were. And then what does that look like today? Because I think mostly you're doing it by yourself today.
Yeah. So at first I was doing them, obviously with Beth. And then in January, she went to Hawaii, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to let her be in Hawaii. And I was like, okay, I am going to do these video chats by myself. And that kind of gave me a lot of confidence, and now I'm totally fine doing them. And so, I mean, now with my girls, like, I'll do like two or three for them, and then afterwards I'll be like, hey, like, I think you're good. Like, call me if you need me, of course, but I want them to do it. I don't want to have to be on every, single call and stuff. But yeah, normally they just look like, I kind of share my story, and then they start, and can kind of ask questions, and it just goes and leads from there. And most of the time after the video chat, they are ready to sign up. Some wait, some I don't hear back from. It just kind of depends. But like the bulk of them end up, becoming consultants. And I think it's just because it's really personable on a video chat. And if I have somebody who like I really, really, really want on my team, I'll have Beth be there just because like I'm like, hey, I really want her to do this. Yeah. Let's answer all of her questions. Like I'm gonna need your backup kind of thing.
Awesome.
But for most of the time, it's just me now.
So do you encourage your girls, and I'm asking this because I am encouraging my team to make their own video to send?
Yeah. A lot of people, some will and some won't, because it is scary, like making a video and stuff. But like, I would say if you're serious about your business, like you'll make your video and you'll send it. And if you're not, like, you can keep sending other people's, but when it's personable, you're gonna gain more yards with someone, and they're just gonna respect you more.
Okay. Awesome. So I have a few more questions. We're running low on time, so I'm going to like plow through these. Okay, so give us a quick rundown. What does your day look like? Because guys, Cassidy still works.
Yeah, so I made like a daily kind of to-do tracker for myself. I like to, my very first month, like I messaged a bunch of people. And I had to put them in the like a tracker that I know Whitney made one too of who I was talking to and stuff. But I like to message people. I always like to make sure I'm reading and then watching something Arbonne or listening to something Arbonne. And I honestly, like, I found several Zooms that I like, or calls that I really like, and I listen to those ones like over and over. Like the one of like Jill Lyons promoting to Nation, like I'll listen to hers over and over, just because that's something that I can resonate with, just seeing her numbers and being like, okay, she was at 0 and then she was a Nation at the end of the year. Yeah. And so that's just really encouraging. So I listen to those all the time, and obviously messaging people. And then I also like to check in with people. And a good majority of it is checking in and following up. I know that part is like, for me, it's the scariest. And I hate checking in with people because I'm like, oh, they've already seen my message so many times. But from what we know, when we continue to check in with them, at some point, they're either going to tell us, leave me alone, or they're going to join our business. So yeah, that's kind of what a typical day looks like.
So when do you typically read?
I like to read now because of my income with Arbonne. Like last month, I was able to switch to part-time. But when I was working full-time, I would do it at night.
Okay. And so when do you listen?
Anytime. Like any downtime I have, if I'm in the shower, if I'm driving. A lot of the time it was driving to work. Like the second I got in the car, I'd plug in something. And then the second I left work and got back in my car, I'd plug in something. Especially like full time, you kind of forget about Arbonne. You're at your job and you're not like in your Arbonne headspace or whatever. And so that helped me being like, okay, I'm going to start my morning with Arbonne, drive to work, put Arbonne back in my mind, and then when I get home, I'll do my Arbonne really quickly. Because really, these things take like 20 minutes. They don't take a long time to sit down and message people or check in with people or anything. That takes like 15 minutes tops.
Well, it takes 15 minutes when you have a tracker. When you don't have a tracker, it's like 30, 40, 45 minutes to an hour.
And I like to, I'll make a big list of people. And then that helps me be like, okay, I've done 5 today, and I'll cross them off. Then obviously I just go to my next one. So I'm not sitting there wasting time being like, who should I message? What should I do? My list is already there.
Right. Okay. So minimal. So I have like a daily to-do list for us, which is what this call was about. We read, we listen, we follow up with 15 people a day, and our goal is to reach out to 5 to 10 new people. So Cassidy, when you basically relaunched yourself in the month of December, would you say that you were doing those things like on a minimal level, or were you doing that times 3 and times 4 to achieve the results that you achieved and to get what you wanted out of this business?
Yeah, I had to do a lot more, because obviously if I was just doing 5, it takes like 1 in 10 for us to get a yes, if not. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to double or triple that if I need to get a yes. It was kind of weird. I feel like the flow of people come in like chunks. I don't know. Like I had like a big chunk, and then everybody was no's. And then I had another big chunk, and then everyone was no's. But you kind of forget about the no's when you start getting the yeses, because you start getting on video chats, you're getting them plugged in your training, you're helping them launch, you're doing all those things. So you're not, like, I forget about the people that say no, and I literally have to go back to check in with them and be like, oh, shoot, who said no? Whereas before, I would be so hung up on the no that I couldn't move on, because, say, I only did message, like, 10 people last time I did Arbonne, And, in that 1 in 10, say I had 1 consultant, everyone else said no, I'm just still hung up on all the people that said no, because I only messaged 10 or 15 people.
Right. I love it. Okay, so a couple more questions. So I know you guys, Cassidy's newly married, and she's also, I mean, this is her first baby, first time pregnancy. So guys, I want to point that out because we're all in different stages and phases of life, and we can all use those things as either an excuse to not work our business, or we can sit down and have a crucial conversation with our wives, which I know her husband, Nate, personally, and I know that not only is the baby growing inside of her, one of her wives, but also her husband. And so Cassidy, what did that look like? Like, did you have to sit down with Nate and say, look, I'm going to do this for a season of our life and be okay with it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm someone, our house is always clean. Everything's organized. It has not been these past 3 months. Like, I even took a picture of my room. I don't remember if I put it on Instagram or not. It was like a wreck, like a total wreck. There were clothes everywhere. And I had to put those little things on the back burner, because really, like, I can clean the house on a Saturday, or, I can do it when I don't have to do Arbonne at that moment. And I had to make Arbonne a priority. And we did have to talk about that, at different points. And I'm not going to say like it's not hard at all. Like, it's definitely hard, especially when you live one way and I like to watch Netflix, or I like just to relax and stuff. I'm not going to do those things right now. Obviously I don't have time to do all those things right now, but I know, like, at some point in life, I will be able to do those things again, but it's just sacrificing the little for the later. And what Arbonne offers you when you commit to doing it is so much greater than any other job can offer you.
Isn't it amazing?
Uh-huh.
Sacrifices, right? Okay, so last couple of just nitpicky questions. I mean, you're on our team page, like, you see all the things that I post. But do you like to message people from your stories about the detox or about the business? If you've seen they viewed your stories, like, do you utilize that stories feature to gain yards with people?
Honestly, I hadn't even seen it until you showed it the other day. Now I've been like, wow, this is cool. I didn't even know I could be doing this. With Instagram, like I said, I always message people about the business. And then when it comes to, I kind of use like my Instagram to like market the detox. In my first month, like, if you're just starting, don't feel like you can't sell anything. Like, I sold 12 detoxes that month because I just took other people's results and were just like, look at my client results. Like, I just like made it up, and any screenshots of messages, like, just take people's messages and use them as your own. And that's what I did that first month. But I had to consistently post about the detox, like, every day. And I have to tell my girls that, like, if you want to sell 12 in your first month, like, you have to be consistently posting about it over and over and over, because people have to see, one, that like they can trust you and trust the products, and that like they taste good. They want to know they taste good. So anytime that someone's like, oh, the fish sticks are great, or this and that, I'll post something, and that seemed to really, really help. But honestly, I'm just now starting doing what you've been doing. I'm like, oh, this is super cool.
Okay, last question, and then I'm going to let you guys ask her questions if you want. Cassidy, if you have like 5-10 minutes for that. Yeah. So last question is, when you are getting someone launched into this business, what does your launch system look like? Are you launching virtually on Zoom? Are you doing in person? Are you being flexible and taking whatever you can get? What does that system look like for a new consultant?
Yeah. So, first what we're doing is obviously like we're welcoming them onto the team pages. And then I made a getting started video. Like, I made my own Facebook page. Like, I was like, okay, if I'm going to be a regional vice president or a national vice president, like, I need my own Facebook page. And so I made my own Facebook page. And then I have like trainings, like a getting started training, although I know you guys totally have that on yours. So the first thing I do is I send them the link to sign up, and then they go and start watching all the getting started training, and I'll send them the message. I save the message in my notes, and then I send it to my girls who, you know, are brand new, or to some of my girls who have girls under them that are brand new, so they can save it onto their notes. But it basically just like welcomes them. It has the link to sign up and encourages them to buy the 30 days to healthy living for themselves, and do it themselves that very first month. Like it's part of like the sign up kind of. It's like, okay, click the link and then sign up for the 30 days to healthy living. And then underneath it, it says like, hey, find 2 launch dates. And then I try to do a video chat with all new consultants like 48 hours or so after. I don't want to overwhelm them with stuff. And so I kind of give them like, okay, I'm just going to give them 2 days to watch all this, find their launch dates, like process. Obviously they're starting something brand new. And then, you know, I'll have girls that are ready with their launch dates, and if they're somewhere, we'll do them virtually. Or I'll have girls that they just feel uncomfortable doing a launch, and kind of like what you said, like you just kind of have to take what you can get, and you can read the person. You know, when I do the video chat with them, if they're ready and need an income right away, I'm like, okay, then we gotta find your launch dates, and we'll set them right then and there. And I've kind of been learning through Beth, like to kind of have an urgency with that, and make sure we get those set, because they really are really helpful having a launch, even if it's just virtual. It kind of helps them be like, okay, this is something like for me. It gets them asking their friends and family right away to come and watch and join. It gets them out of their comfort zone right away. And then I always like to start them off with just like the 8 and 2 that everybody does. The 8 detoxes. And then obviously, like I tell them to start messaging people. I mean, my goal is to have them obviously bring in more than 2 consultants, but to start messaging people right away about the business. Some will and some won't, but it just depends. But that's kind of my
system. Awesome. I love it. And so you guys, I hope that you heard repeated throughout this call over and over again that exactly what she's done is everything that we teach all the time. So, and that's why I ask you those questions, Cassidy, because not to like be redundant, but because guys, like she's living it, like she's living proof. And so I love your story and I love what you're doing. And guys, I don't want to keep her forever, and because we are taking her away from her to-do list, but if any of you guys have like this like question that you feel like hasn't been answered, I feel like I was pretty interrogative. But if you have a question that you're like, I've got to ask her, I want to know right now, just unmute yourself and I'll take like 3 questions if you guys have something.
Hey, Whitney.
Hi.
Hey, I just have a real quick question for you. I'm sorry. So I saw a lot of like you talking about like your anxiety from relaunching, and I'm actually in my relaunch area too because I started like 2 years back. I was really intrigued about like your video. I don't want to necessarily ask you to go through your video for me, but like, do you have any suggestions for like somebody? Because I think I'm pretty anxious about like, oh, I have no success in this business at the level that I'm at. How am I supposed to make this video? I don't have like a story like Whitney's to put into a video. What kind of suggestions do you have for like my first video?
Good question.
My video it kind of talks about a little bit like Beth's story is a little bit in there, and like you could have Whitney's story a little bit in there as to like how you saw her living and how like you're going to get to live. That's kind of like what my video was. And I also like I tell everyone like I started in December. I don't like in my video I'm not like I started 3 years ago and then I stopped. Like I don't say really much of that. Like I don't even think that's in the video. It's more of like, okay, this is my launch. This is when I was serious. This is when I actually started. And I kind of just use Beth's story, but then also incorporate it into mine. And so you could totally use Whitney's or whoever your sponsor was, and or whatever really the reasons that like made you start Arbonne, and add that into your kind of like your why. But like really like they're not looking for the success story really. Like they're just looking for someone who's like honest. And if like in the video, like I'm replacing my income by the time my baby gets here, like I'm telling them that. And so whatever your goal is or whatever, like you can say that because they're going to want to follow you if you're like, this is my goal, this is where I'm going, this is how I'm getting there. That's kind of described in my video too. And so if you're sharing that with people, they're going to be like, oh, okay, she's serious or he's serious. I can trust them.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You're super bubbly and cute, by the way.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you guys, it's no different than like when I started my business and, you know, standing up in front of a room. And I remember just like it was yesterday being like, hi, everyone. My name is Whitney Haynes. I'm a district manager with Arbonne, and I will be a regional vice president by October of this year. You don't know what that means, but I'm going to go over it at the end of this presentation. So I love that, you guys. Like, I've always said it, but now you're hearing from someone who just did it. Like, it's working for her. Like, also, you don't have to have the white Mercedes.
On social media, like, I kind of use social media to hold myself accountable. Like, I'll screenshot the district manager, area manager, and be like, this is where I'm going this month, and this is where I'll be by this. Because I'm like, okay, 400 people just saw this. Like, I can't quit now, you know? Like, I'll have moments of, like, where I'm like, oh, anxious and, oh, I can't do this, you know, but I'm like, I can't stop. Like, all these people have been watching me. I'm not going to stop now kind of thing. And so I like to do that and be like, this is where I got this month. This is where I'm going. This is where I'll be by then. People like to see what you're doing and where you're going with your goals, but then also it holds you kind of accountable too.
Love it. Okay, guys, 2 more questions real quick.